Okay. Hello? Can everyone hear me? I think you can all hear me. Wow. Check all my fancy graphics that I've got. I know, they're beautiful. You've never seen anything quite like it. I'm sure you haven't. Right. What we got? So, what we're doing is a podcast. I've not done a podcast before, but
Right. What we got?
I've got an echo.
It's a podcast.
Echo.
I've not done podcast.
Ah, okay. Solved. That was annoying. Right. So, podcast. We're doing a podcast. The podcast is called whatever it's called. It's called the DeFly Rebuild Podcast. The idea is to rebuild DeFly in our own image. Okay? DeFly's got issues. We're not asking Serial to do what we're saying. We're just in a perfect world. What would we like the changes and how game modes and certain features, how would we like them to work? Does that make sense? Wonderful. So, today, we're going to go through FFA. Okay? I have got highly experienced player, ex-captain of Purple, may or may not be vice-captain of Purple, who knows anymore. Calvin, if that is your true name.
Yeah, that's me. Hi.
Yeah. And also a TL. Forgot. And aren't you a mod as well, or?
Yeah, I like I kind of. Aren't you like all those things anyways?
Yeah, I don't know. Not really. I'm busy. I'm a busy boy.
Yeah, we all are.
And we've also got Wave, who is captain or vice captain of Sky Blue. Vice, yeah, one of the two. You're basically captain. Yeah, those are the guests. So this is episode 1. Today we're going to go through FFA. We'll go through some other game modes moving forwards, but I thought I'd start with FFA. Now, the objective of this is to essentially reimagine. So by the end of this podcast today, we're going to reimagine how FFA works, yeah? And the criteria that you can see on your screen is threefold. It's number 1, to drive enjoyment. Number 2, replayability, which essentially just means you want to keep on playing it, right? There needs to be a reason to come back. Does that make sense? And then the third is a sense of achievement. Okay, so the question the reason why we're starting with FFA, I think I'll put it to the stage, but I think it's probably, excluding EFFA of course, because EFFA is not really a proper game mode, but FFA is probably the worst game mode of all of them. It's kind of boring.
Well, I think each FFA might be worth talking about at least a little bit, but I don't know.
I mean, they're basically the same, so I guess it's part of the topic, right?
Well, I don't know, like
grenades. I don't know.
Yeah, right. There's like grenades and stuff. Honestly, like I remember.
It's a better version of FFA, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Yep. I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So essentially, FFA bad, EFFA slightly less bad. So my first question to both of you guys is, how much do we think FFA/EFFA actually needs changing for it to be a genuinely enjoyable game mode, right? If you think about teams and you think about 1v1s and you think about defuse, there are these relatively massive communities around each of the game modes, right? Each with their own like dedicated player base, right? You think about FFA. I mean, I don't know about you, but like there might be one FFA or EFFA player in the entire community. It's not much of a community around it, is it? So how much does it need changing?
Okay, well,
You can go first, Calvin.
it's kind of like a weird thing to be saying, right? Because you're describing like things that would naturally have communities for them anyways. Like if you have teams, like of course you're gonna have a server for teams to like organize your team and get like people in VC and everything. For EFFA and like free for all, it's like you're just playing on your own. Why would you have a community based around that? It doesn't make sense. So like I think on its face, like free for all isn't really the type of thing that's going to garner as much of a community as like other game modes do.
Wave?
I think that like the one thing that really needs to be thought about with FFA is the goal of the mode, because currently the goal of the mode is to surround the map, which if there's like 3 experienced players in the lobby, then it's gonna be just a bunch of fighting back and forth. And like Calvin said, like you're not really doing it with anyone. So I mean, playing like for an hour and a half just to surround a map isn't exactly the most exciting time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, teams is also like you have to surround the map, but like I would say most people don't like play with that kind of goal in mind, you know?
Yeah. Can
It's
I
more
just...
like
Sorry, go on.
yeah, I mean, okay, and also I'll say that like also like it's way harder to win free for all. Like one person versus 40, you're not gonna win that realistically. Like you don't usually win free for all unless like everyone in there sucks, and even then it's just not enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. If I may just pick on a point that you made, being about I've already forgotten. Being about nobody actually plays teams to actually win the objective, right? The objective in teams, people play teams. They do not hop on a team's game to actually play the objective. So that's why teams is broken to start with, and that'll be an interesting topic when we move to it on a different podcast. But FFA, it's kind of the same. I mean, it's basically the same thing, right? It's just as broken. If you want to win, it takes hours. Is that how it should be?
All right. I mean, personally, I don't think that it really matters that much to like play for like the objective goal, right? I think like we generally all like to just play for fun, really. And I think the problem with free for all is not that it's hard to win; it's just that it's not fun on its face. There's like teams. There's like so much more. Teams is just so much more involved than free for all. Like free for all is just build a base and then like get big and like shoot people and do whatever. Honestly, like the only times free for all is actually cool and good is like 1v1 shooter stuff and like public tournament games specifically. Like Koth. Like Koth is like really good. That's like free for all at its peak. But just like free for all, like as in the normal game mode, and also like EFFA, you know, pretty similar there. They're just like they're just not fun to play. I don't know what to say.
So, okay. So what would make it fun? You mentioned about the Koth in the center, and that's kind of the only thing that we've ever kind of done with FFA that's ever been different, and obviously we've tried that out in mega games. Is that what we're saying? Is a better way of doing it?
Well,
I mean,
think,
it's not even like
let me get this point off. But I think a good model of like an FFA game mode that's in DeFi is Copter Royale on Cool Math. I think that is a lot more engaging and just fun to play overall than like any sort of FFA mode in DeFi, really.
Okay.
Wave. For the listeners at home who don't know what Copter Royale is, can you please tell us? Because I also kind of forgot what Copter Royale was like. It had like weird power-ups and shit.
So Copter Royale, you know, it's a free-for-all battle royale game. So, you know, think Fortnite or whatever else you can think of that goes with battle royale. But like you put 100 people, only like 5 of them are actual people and the rest are bots anyways. But the bots aren't that bad compared to DeFi's. But then they all duke it out and they get like different power-ups and like they can level up their abilities to be stronger than their opponents. And at the end there's one winner as the map gets smaller with like a storm that will kill you if you're in it for too long. So it's just one winner.
Yeah.
after like a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it really is to fly Fortnite.
No, it actually is, and genuinely, it's actually quite fun. It's actually
I've
quite
not
fun.
played it in ages, so but I do like vaguely remember it.
Yeah, if you want to play it, the only place you can play it, it's on Cool Maths. I think Serial did it in collaboration specifically with Cool Maths, the website. Um, so that's the only place you can play it. But as you said, it is literally just a battle royale version of DFly with some other little things here and there. But I mean, if you don't know how battle royale works, firstly, you've been living under a rock for about the last 6 years. But it works exactly the same. So if we were to, obviously that is it is a different version of DFly. It is DFly, but it is a little bit different from my memory. You have like power ups that you pick up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we would. That's probably a little bit too far away from DFly, but
I mean, you said it was supposed to be unrealistic, right?
unrealistic, realistic. I mean, is that how we would? Okay, fine. No, let's go back. Okay, so the battle royale idea, right? Do we think that's the best way then? Moving like to change FFA to a battle royale game mode?
I mean, I think it could be. I'm not sure if you want to go out and copy Copter Royale. I'm also not sure what like the rights on that are, but like something like that focuses more on.
Sorry, you get cut out there.
And this is like a battle royale mode. Like you're constantly being driven to do something. Like you either have to go in and fight someone, or you're hiding from everyone. I don't know if that's a very fun way to play, but you can do it. So I think like one of the main things would be just to make sure that like the player is always kind of doing something.
So okay, so the battle royale game mode, from what you're saying, sounds like probably the best idea that we've had so far. Considering the only alternative is kind of a Koth in the center, which I don't think it quite meets kind of what you're saying about always doing something. I guess, right? Because
Well, I mean, yeah, I think one of the ways that you could maybe incorporate like always doing something into a Koth is to do like a rotating Koth, like control points, and like
Right.
Serial could just code it in that like it would announce like point number 6 or whatever, and it would be the 6th Koth. I don't know how you would
I
exactly
see what you're saying.
communicate that to the players, but
So like like a control point game that we've done in Elite, basically. Yeah. So for any of those who don't know, a control point game that we've sometimes played in elite teams, is essentially you have 6 Koths, all split into basically Koth 1 bottom left, Koth 2 top right, etc. You get the idea, or top left. And basically every 15 minutes there's a different one of those Koths becomes an active Koth, and you have to take that over at the end of that 15-minute period. If you have the Koth, then you basically get a point essentially, and the idea is the most points in that game wins. That's essentially how the control point game mode works. Doing that in an FFA standpoint is interesting. The only thing that I would say about the FFA, why I don't particularly like, I am the host, but I'm a host with opinions. The only reason why I don't particularly like the idea of with Koth in the center is because it forces people to play in a certain way. Do you know what I mean? Like if you don't play Builder, then you ain't going to do anything. Do you know what I mean? So people who don't want to play Builder, it kind of just makes it not as enjoyable for them. I don't know.
yeah,
Discuss.
I see what you're saying.
Calvin, what's your take on that? Interesting. Oh yeah, no, genius. I totally agree, Calvin. Why didn't I think of that?
Okay.
Yeah, go
I
on.
mean, I'll just pipe in here. So, I think you're right. like the control points was kind of just an idea, and I do see what you're saying. It forces players to play builder, but I think like we kind of need some sort of like regulation on the builder in that like standpoint. Like maybe you could do like lower lower build range or something like that, and then like you know, if you were to not play builder, then you would be kind of at the disadvantage of not being able to use some of the build range and that kind of stuff. But also, I think something you could do to kind of combat that would be instead of leveling up normally, and this is kind of a wild idea, I know, but you could pick classes instead. So like you could pick like a builder class would maybe only have like 6 tower health or something like that, just to kind of combat the builder meta in that.
Right. Okay. That's an interesting idea.
Also,
Isn't
I've
that
been
how
told
Copter Royale
to-
functions, or am
No,
I
kinda.
misremembering?
I don't think
Well,
it does.
no.
Well, no,
It-
it had like you would like pick up the upgrade things, right? That's like how you would upgrade.
Yeah. It is different. Yeah. It was not classes though, is it?
No.
Yeah, wait, no, yeah, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, you're thinking of Copter IO.
Yeah, that one's really weird.
Yeah, that one is different.
I mean, I wouldn't even like call that the fly. That's like that just feels completely different.
Okay,
Also,
Well- go on.
I've been told to take a peek at the chat. and-
Yeah, I was literally just about to say I'm gonna go read. I'll read some of the suggestions in chat. I was literally just about to do that. Okay, so
Oh, yeah,
we've
I can-
got some things from loads of messages, specifically from Climb Higher. They have said about so for starters, Team Allure has said start everyone with 16 levels, make the map smaller, minimize the amount of bots, add more superpowers. I think that's in reference to just the normal FFA game mode, which we've kind of moved away from in this podcast at this point.
Similar.
Climb Higher has said, I agree with Wave, in addition to a smaller map and an in-game chat, increased leveling speed too. And they've also said you could also switch the leaderboard to display the number of Koths captured. Interesting. Okay, so we have kind of two ideas that we're running with so far. We've got the battle royale idea, right? And then we've got the other idea, which is the idea of having control points and they switch, and you kind of have to capture them, and you have essentially like classes, right? So you have classes in the control point game so that you kind of restrict it and people can play different things, and it not be overly OP towards builders. So those are the two kind of things that we've got. We've completely moved away from the idea of FFA. So, what does the chat think about that? So, Progood saying, talk about the auto leveler in Power Up Plus extension.
How's that relevant?
It's not relevant. I should have read that before This is why I'm a bad host. I'm sorry. I
The
think.
first episode, it's cool.
Thanks. I think this is from Climb Higher. I think Battle Royale would be more popular with the masses. It would be hard for new players to win the control points. Thoughts on that, Calvin?
Oh, personally, I think like a battle royale thing is like cool, because if you think about it, like battle royale is kind of similar to Koth, right? Because basically it's just concentrating all the players in the server into just one specific area to like fight it out until like the last one standing wins. That's like literally like the way Koth works. I think that's like just a pretty easy thing to do. Well, I mean, pretty easy thing to be cool. That is, like if you figure it out, like it's literally just like the Koth like builder games, except like instead of having a specific Koth, instead it's just like, oh, the storm is shrinking, you gotta get in, or else like,
Mhm.
and like while you're in the storm, like all your towers just like break instantly or something like that, you know. And that also like just enables people to, like go full shooter if they want to, just for fun. I don't know. Thinking about like if you can figure out like how to do leveling, like what we said maybe with classes, like I think that'd be like a really cool thing to do. And it's just like also like a convenient thing that you can just like hop into whatever. Like for me, at least, like Diffuse has like the Defly niche of, oh, you know, I only have like 15 minutes to play. Like I'll just do this. I mean, I don't like 1v1s that much, but like for other people, like that is like what 1v1s are, and like this could just be that thing, you know?
Could be the thing where what? Well, in what sense? Because in my mind, with the battle royale game mode, you can't just hop in whenever you want, right?
I feel like you could. I feel like it's lower commitment.
No way. Well, I mean,
I
how
mean,
would
I
that
think
work? How would that
Battle
work?
Royale games normally only take like 5 minutes or so a piece.
I mean, it
Okay.
depends on like how fast the storm shrinks, I guess.
Is that how you would want it? Would you want it like super quick pace, or would you not want to slow it down a little bit? Do you know what I mean?
Okay, that's
You might.
maybe true. How long do Fortnite games take?
They could take half an hour plus.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on how good you are, but like, I don't know, like.
For you,
I don't
Calvin,
know.
maybe 2 minutes, but for everybody else, 30 minutes plus.
Yeah, sorry, I never learned how to crank 90s.
No, the trick is just to play with somebody who's actually good at the game and just get carried by them like I did. Yeah, that's what you do. So,
That checks out.
so do we want to like? So how? Going back to the question, I don't think you'd want to slow it down so it's like lasts as long as a diffuse round. Would you?
Yeah, definitely. I think it should be longer than
Yeah.
Defuse.
So what? You'd do it like 10 minutes, longer than 10 minutes?
10 minutes is like probably fine.
Yeah, that's probably about a good like
Mhm.
range. Because if you have it go for too long, then they kind of just lose interest.
Okay. So Climb Higher says it depends on the type of battle royale. COD Royale is like 5 minutes. Fortnite is like 20. Danger Zone says, I mean, I think a little bit longer would be better, but make sure it's not too long. And then Climb Higher says, so I think okay, makes sense. So if it was only 10 minutes long, for example, then if you were a player, obviously you couldn't join when a new player. Sorry, you couldn't join mid-game, but you would wait 10 minutes for the game to end, right? And you would just spectate. Is that how that would work?
Okay, actually, when you put it like that, maybe it sounds like a little bit lame.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's
I
like
mean,
the
for
thing
that,
about
you
battle-
kind of need
right.
more players, like, to get multiple ones going. Or, you know, if you included bots, you could maybe do like 4 games going at the same time. So maybe you have like every 2.5 minutes, like one would start.
Okay, so yeah, so you've got a game, right? How many players is the Battle Royale game mode in a You've got unlimited amount of players. How many You've got a limited amount of player base, should I say? Don't worry about that. In an ideal world, how many players would you want to be on one server in this Battle Royale game mode that we're coming up with?
I think if you included tower health, you would maybe want less, but if it was no tower health, then I think like the good 100 would be the best, probably.
You'd want
If you're-
100 players.
Well, that's what Copter Royale is, so.
Damn.
Yeah, Copter Royale is no tower health, but it has tower shield, right? Which is like the really goofy
Yeah,
thing.
but it's like it doesn't get the tower health doesn't get very good until like the late game, so it doesn't impact it too much.
So what you're thinking, like, if you have tower health, you need about 100 players?
No, if you have tower health, then you need like maybe a little bit smaller of a map, but you would need less
Yeah.
players because it's gonna take more time to kill someone.
Right.
Yeah, with tower health, you could do like 20 players, 25, something like that.
So you're thinking 2025 with tower health?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that should be fine, honestly.
So if we take it up to 20 to 20 players then, nice, or to 24 players, nice round number. So you've got 24 players in the game. Okay, right, 24 players don't turn up. Only, I don't know, 12. Are you going to fill the rest of those positions up with bots?
Yeah. I mean, you can't really just leave it like to where if someone were to get on at 5 in the morning, there would just be 2 people in the lobby or something like that.
Well, I mean, just don't play at 5 in the morning. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, I'll let you argue with the Australians on that one, Calvin.
Oh, sorry for any Aussies listening right now.
Right, yeah. So you just fill up with bots, and do they have to be good bots, or like what level of bots are we talking here?
significantly better than the FFA bots.
Yeah.
Yeah, the FFA bots are like terrible.
Yeah.
But would they have to be bots that would actually have to be able to compete with, like... I mean,
I think so.
how good would they have to be able to compete? And with what type of... How good of a player we would want them to be able to compete with?
I mean, they could maybe be like a little below average players, but not like to where they're gonna be free kills and not to where they're gonna be invincible, right?
We're not talking about, like, average elite player.
Yeah, just like a little bit below average, like the average player.
The normal average player.
I think they
Also-
should be like the scripted crazy ones that people got banned for, that like play stop constantly on the grid. I think they should be like that, like unironically.
Oh, nice. Like it. So we're not talking about super bots. We're talking about bots which are good enough to be able to compete, but most players are going to find it quite easy. But not too easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I would like to mention I just played a game of Copter Royale and it took me 4 minutes and 30 seconds to win. So,
Nice.
Oh,
Well,
very cool. We're playing on the pod.
well, I had to get a time estimate and show off my Copter Royale skills at
Nice.
the same time. So,
it is a bit too
For
short,
sure.
though. It is a bit too short, I think.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So 10 minutes plus we're kind of talking about. Maybe like 15 minutes.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. So what have we got? To summarise then, we've redesigned FFA to Copter Royale. Not Copter Royale, to a Battle Royale game mode. We've got a max player count of 24 players. We've got, if 24 players don't turn up, then the remaining spots will be filled by AIs, which are going to be kind of like just below the normal average player. Okay? So not nowhere near kind of elite level, but just below the average normal player. Okay, so players have joined the game. They spawn presumably, random positions across the map, or some kind of like survival, like Hunger Games type circle thing.
Ooh, that's an idea. Maybe you could have a little. It'd have to be kind of spread out because if it was like all in like 4 squares,
course.
then they would just die. But if you put it maybe in like, I don't know, a decently sized but not too big square, like you could kind of do a cornucopia type of thing and put like
Ooh.
maybe some good superpowers there or something like that.
Okay, so going with that idea, we're taking a different route then? Are we talking about not having normal D-fly leveling? We're not doing normal D-fly leveling.
Normally, D-fly leveling sucks. Come on, no one wants to like capture towers and shoot them. No, I think that like there's something in like what Copter Royale does. Now that I'm thinking about, like you could just have like scattered like these little like upgrade, power up, pick up collectible things all over the map, and every time you get one, you get like
like +2 in a specific like upgrade category. You know what I mean? And it's like you could just like
Right.
get all your levels that way.
I
Okay.
think also something with those, like if you were to do that, I think it would be interesting if you had to like hold it, like if it was like a square or something and you had to hold it for like 5 seconds to be able to get it.
Hmm.
So like it's not just like you rush into it, like you have to actually actively get it.
Okay. So with these like power ups, I guess we're calling them. You know, if you imagine the normal DeFi leveling, right? You've got like 32 levels, so you've only got so much you can have. You can't just get whatever you want, right? You can't just get unlimited of everything. So how would we look at like restricting that, right? Because you wouldn't want somebody to just get every single power up they can possibly find and become completely overpowered, right? Because
I
if you
mean,
think about it with Fortnite, right? You pick up a gun, right? You can't pick up another gun and that is going to make your other gun even better, right? You pick up one gun and that's the gun. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in DeFi, in what we're talking about, you pick up one thing, then you pick up another, and then you pick up another, where each one is contributing to you getting better. Do you know that? Do you know what I mean?
mhm.
So you need to limit it somehow. What do we? How would you do that, Calvin? Wave.
So in Fortnite, right, you have like 5 slots, I think, for guns, right?
Hmm.
And there's different rarities of guns. So and this is kind of how it is in Copter Royale too, where there's like 4 different types of upgrades that you can get, and then those have different rarities. So I think you could kind of do something along the same lines, where like you kind of improve something, and then ICH also mentioned like that in Copter Royale you can change superpowers, but you can't have like 3 superpowers at the same time or something like that.
Hmm.
So you could maybe do some sort of system where, it would get better, but like also along the lines of not getting 8 tower health. Like you would have to
Sure.
restrict upgrades like that to maybe like 2 tower health if it was in a battle royale setting, and maybe you have to choose like some sort of max upgrade class, maybe. So you have like a max of 8 bullet range or bullet speed, but you only have a max of like 4 bullet reload or something like that.
Okay.
And that kind of goes along with the class system too.
Can I run with your idea? So
Yes.
if let's say you've got 4 or 5 slots. Let's say 4 slots. Okay, and in each of these slots, you can put these are just upgrade slots, right? Not power ups. So these are just not like superpowers, should I say? These are like upgrade slots. Yeah. So you pick up an upgrade for let's say build range, right? That goes in one of the slots. Yeah. And then you pick up another upgrade for build range. That goes in the same slot and it just like stacks on top of each other, right?
Okay, so there's kind of like a max
So
on the.
exactly. So you can only stack 2 of the same twice, right? So and then using the rarity idea, you get like, a rare one, so a rare like build range one, which might give you 4 upgrade or an equivalent of 4 upgrade points. So theoretically you could only have a maximum of 8 build range still, right? So you run with that idea. Yeah, you can spread that across. You get to pick, the 4 different upgrades that you want to have by going around finding them. You're looking for the different rarities. You want more rare ones so that you can maximize your upgrades in that slot. Does that sort of make sense? Is that sort of the lines that we're going?
Yeah. And
Okay, wait. But what about like killing people and taking their upgrades? Do we want to make that a thing?
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
that goes without saying, Calvin. God.
All right, I was just thinking like it would be like a little bit silly, but maybe. But the thing is like, I don't know. It's probably fine. I'm just thinking like if you kill someone and you're already like maxed out, like you get nothing out of it. Should you get like something out of it? Because like even like Fortnite, you can like get like something cool, right?
Well, I mean, you kind of get the advantage of dropping one of your opponents. Like, if you're by that stage where you don't really need anything, then there should only be a couple players left, anyways. So you're just trying to kill everyone that's left.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
Also,
go on.
real quick, one of the things that I was thinking about where you're talking about like the leveling stuff, right? Is what you could maybe do is you could maybe have like I said, different rarities of stuff. So like you could have common, uncommon, and that kind of stuff. And like you said, they would each be assigned a point value. And what you could do is you could max out the amount of levels they have. So like they could only get up to like maybe 24 levels or something. And so they have to pick and choose which upgrades they have, and they can like take out some upgrades and put new ones in or something like as they go along.
Yeah.
So like maybe you have 5 or 4 build range, and then you're at max upgrades, and you find like a good reload upgrade to like boost your reload, then you would drop build range and pick up the reload with it.
Yeah. So you got so essentially what we're saying, right, is we've got these 4 slots, yeah, each stack twice, so you can only have 4 different types of upgrades. You can't have 5 different types. You can only have 4. Okay, so you need to pick and choose what you want. In each slot, you can theoretically, if you have 2 rare ones or whatever, you get a maximum of 8 points in each slot. So you would get basically 32 levels, equivalent of if you had max everything, right? That's kind of what we're saying. Is that sort of the same thing that you're saying?
Sorta, yeah. I think I was more saying like just from like leveling as a whole, like you get 16 levels and they go to whatever you want. But that I guess kind of makes more sense, just in that you can like you have to choose what kind of player you want to be, but then you do have to like regulate some stuff. Like a builder would easily win against a full shooter if you have like 6 tower health or something like that. So you kind of have to balance things out if you're gonna do something like that.
Yeah, you probably couldn't have like the normal max tower health, right? You'd probably have to have 1 point less of tower health as the maximum.
I don't know. I mean, I think tower health in general is like very overpowered, and it doesn't really lend itself to a battle royale mode. So I would argue like either 2 tower health or no tower health if you're gonna do this.
2 points of tower health, or literally just 2 HP on the tower?
2 hits, 2 HP.
I mean, I do like tower health, but it is the most overpowered upgrade in the game and always has been. Second only to the upgrade that lets you destroy tower health. But I don't know. I think there is like a kind of cool mechanic with tower health, because it is like, if you think about like Fortnite, that's just like building, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's like a cool thing you can do to like shut people like out of the storm circle. But maybe it's like at 8 is a little bit too high, but I don't think like 2 is like, maybe 6.
Okay. I think
6 points, so like 3 hits. Or 4 hits.
That's probably fine, yeah.
4 hits.
I will always stand up for builders.
Okay. Yeah, so you obviously restrict some upgrades more than others. So like build range, you're not going to allow 8 build range. You know, you're definitely not going to have any tower shield, that's for sure. I think that kind of goes without saying, right? And then you're only going to have like 4 hits of HP as maximum, but we're going to go with the same thing. Okay, and then the way I see it, based on what we're saying, Wave, is you've got a bunch of superpowers all over the map, and as you said, you can only pick up 1, right? And so you have a 5th slot, which is your superpower slot, and you just pick up 1, and you have to swap it out if you want to change.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what we're saying?
Yeah, I think that's how Copter Royale does it, and I think it works really well. But you would need to add more superpowers, because the ones they have right now wouldn't really be... There would be like 2 of them that are actually viable to use, so...
So what have you got? You got Clone, you've got Teleport, you've got Dual Shot, you've got EMP, you've got Grenade.
Yeah, I think...
I feel like a lot of
take
them
Player
that
are
back.
speed.
kind of
Yeah,
useful, actually.
There's
Like,
quite a lot,
but
I think.
I think you would just need more to add more variability. Not as much like that they wouldn't work very well. I think
Right.
like only having 5 or 6 wouldn't be very
Okay.
it wouldn't have very good replayability if it's just the same thing over and over.
So what would you want more? Or would you want like a subcategory of superpowers, like mini superpowers?
Hmm.
So you get like 2 different superpowers, you get like 1 big superpower and like a second mini superpower, or just
I think
more
that could
variety of
work.
superpowers?
I think either of them can work. I think they're kind of the same thing, but I do like the idea of like a mini superpower, but you just have to like figure out what would be classified as a mini superpower or like your main superpower.
Mm-hmm. Calvin?
I think that's kind of hard to categorize unless you come up with new superpowers, because all the superpowers are main superpowers, right? You can't be like, I don't know, you can't be like, oh yeah, my main superpower is dual shot and my second superpower is clone. You know, that's just like kind
Yeah.
of stupid, right? I mean, Copter Royale has all its little things, right? I don't know what they are, but it has like unique ones, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's quite a few on Copter Royale.
Go on, as the Copter Royale expert, do you want to list them all off? I'm sure you know all of them.
I mean, based off of my win from earlier,
Yeah.
I know my stuff. So I think there's rocket, which is like you just shoot a rocket in the direction you're looking at, and it'll like either kill someone if it hits them or it'll break their towers. And then there's homing rocket, which is the same thing, but it like follows your mouse for a little bit. Then there's homing bullets, which like makes your bullets follow your mouse as they go. So like it's not just like you shoot them and they go, like you shoot them and then you can drag them around. And then there's TP, but it's like an instant teleport. There's speed boost, which is the same thing. I think there's mini, like it makes you smaller. I don't really know what
Yeah,
that
I kind
one
of remember
does
that
a whole
one.
lot.
I don't know what it does though, but I do remember
Yeah.
that being a feature.
There's invisibility. They've added a couple new ones more recently, but I don't really know what they are.
Aren't the
There's,
sound effects really
Wait, this
good in
gets
that game?
updates? I didn't even know.
Yeah, it was maybe like a year and a half ago or something like that. But
Wow, I didn't even know.
I think there's
I'll have to
there's
go
a
back and check it
charge
out.
shot. Yeah, I know. There's a charge shot, so like you hold it and then it like gets bigger. It's like a one bullet that just gets
Mhm.
bigger as you hold it, and then like you can shoot it out. And then there's like this weird, like the shotgun and defuse, like it spreads out, but like the bullets are kind of bigger.
Yeah.
And you can shoot off a couple rounds of that.
Okay, so what we're saying
I
is
don't
there are loads of things you could do, and you would want like that many as like that many different ones to make it work.
Hmm.
That actually like sounds so awesome though when you talked about it. Like, I'm just feeling jealous over here that like Copter Royale has gotten an update more recently than To Fly has. Oh come on, homing bullets! Oh my god.
No, it would be fun to use that.
Okay, cool. So
Actually, I mean, thinking about it, like, come on. I mean, this is maybe a little tangential, but like, why doesn't Serial just like do this stuff for experimental free for all? Like, it was supposed to be like this really cool thing where Serial would put experimental shit like homing bullets in, or well, not necessarily homing bullets, but he could do that, right? Like, if you're doing this for Copter, okay, this is just me complaining about Serial a little bit, but come on, like you could just like put these goofy Copter Royale things into experimental free for all. No,
Yeah,
like, that's
you
totally
just-
fine, right?
Yeah, you're right. You just have to remember though, the game isn't as active as it once was. You know, So, like, is it really worth it anymore? Probably not. It used
Well,
to
if you're
be.
doing
It definitely used to be, and maybe back then, maybe it was. He should have done a few more features, but he was working on some of his other games instead. But now I don't think it's worth it anymore. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's a different topic. Okay. So okay. What have we got? We've scrapped FFA. It's Battle Royale game mode now. And the Battle Royale has 24 players. Okay? If a player doesn't turn up, they get replaced by an AI, which is like a normal average player, or just below a normal average player. And they will spawn in like a Hunger Games type circle, but the circle is quite, there's quite over a large distance on the map. There's like a cornucopia with upgrades in. The normal leveling is no longer a thing. You have like pickups, so you pick up like upgrades, and you have 4 slots. Those slots can pick up different types of upgrades, and you can only stack those upgrades like twice. So you can only have like 2 bullet range upgrades, for example, in the same slot, and you can't have the same type in multiple slots, if that makes sense. And then you have different rarities of the upgrades. So you have a rare one, which maybe does like the equivalent of 4 points bullet range, and maybe you have a common one which does like 2 points in bullet range. Okay, and then we basically said you've got a 5th slot, which is your superpower slot, and that you can basically have 1 superpower in that you can pick up from the map, and there's like 15 different superpowers that you can find and use, and you can only use one at a time, and you can swap them in and out. We've also said if a player dies, then you basically get the chance to swap out your gear and use their gear from the player that you killed. Okay, so the map's closing. We're getting so we've got a map. Presumably it's like some circle map. Would we want like actual objects on the map, like obstacles, or would we want this just like a empty-ish map? Or so
I mean, people need to have room, but I know Copter Royale has like some sorts of obstacles, but I think it would be kind of better if it was maybe a little more structured. Like if you think of a battle royale like Fortnite, right? You can hide in a house or something like that. But people can also break down the walls of the house. So maybe you have like areas you can kind of go into, but like you can't just camp out in there forever. Like if someone's right outside of there.
Yeah, so like basically like grey towers that you can destroy.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, on the subject of camping, I know people love creeper skins, right?
Ooh.
We should do that.
No.
That could be a superpower.
That could be a
Oh,
superpower.
as a superpower? I was just thinking like as a default.
Oh God, no!
Would that
Come
be
on,
cool,
we
though?
were
Would
really
that-
onto something there, Calvin. He had to go away and ruin it like that.
No, creeper skins are cool. Like people just don't.
You're not getting another invite. Oh, I hate creeper skins.
No, they're awesome, right? Because like, come on, like, again, like the Fortnite analogy, like you have like people like they have like they hide in bushes, right? They can like wear a bush and like do that sort of thing. That's just what creeper skins are. Like we could just do that, right?
Guys,
See,
I think
and
that'd
that's
be
why
fun
they would
and
be a
cool.
good superpower. But
I
you know,
agree.
if I'm doing my thing and I'm about to win, and then this tower that I go next to just kills me, I might be a
Well, then
little
don't
mad.
go next to the tower, right? Like, come on. Like,
Okay,
oh yeah, but it's such a good YouTube clip.
just make
yeah,
you
exactly.
so much more
It's also like
paranoid.
a Fortnite thing, normally, right? Don't you just like randomly shoot in bushes every now and then? Like,
No, it's a superpower though. It's definitely not like everyone's got it by default.
No. But like, picture this,
It would be-
right?
think of the
There's a
YouTube clips,
Fortnite
though.
map, and it's like there's a bush every like 5 steps, and then you have to shoot in all
No.
of those bushes.
Oh god.
Yeah, I mean, you come on.
Calvin
people
just
play
ruined
that thing
Fortnite.
anyways.
Nobody
I
thought it
think
was
we're making
possible,
it sound
but-
worse than it is.
I think it is that bad.
No,
Yeah.
people love creepers.
No, they don't. That's why we do it so infrequently. Nobody ever asks
like,
for
imagine,
creeper
like-
skins.
Okay, I forgot what I was gonna say. I was gonna be like, oh yeah, you could like have a creeper skin, and then like you could teleport and clothesline and do all sorts of crazy nonsense. Can't do that if a creeper's the superpower that takes up teleport though. I'm just saying, you know, like the YouTube clip potential will be lost.
Oh god.
Maybe Creeper can be a sub superpower. Who knows? That was discussed.
Maybe we can like do like a pay to win kind of thing where if you have VIP account, you can get the creeper skin for Battle Royale.
Oh my god, Calvin. Okay.
Zero makes money this way. It's like a win-win.
Pay to win, D-Fly. That's what we're coming up with here.
Yeah.
Okay, so... Okay, fine. So we're gonna have, like, some structures on the map, right? The structures are destroyable structures, but you can, like, hide in them and... well, a little bit. Not really, but you can kind of hide behind them, I guess, right? But they are destroyable. Presumably have some tower health and stuff, so you have... Presumably you're gonna have a few different maps, I guess, right? So you're gonna have a few different
Yeah.
maps. You're not just gonna have one map, which is the same.
Well, I mean, you could have like a rotating map, like
Mhm.
like Fortnite. You know, the map changes every season or whatever, which is every couple months. Or
Oh.
I don't know how frequent it is, but
Well, who knows?
or you could do it like Defuse and have like people make maps, and then there's like
Yeah.
4 normal maps or whatever, and then
Mhm.
1 rotating map.
So what do you think, Calvin? Would you have like multiple different maps that, you know, all rotate within like the same like day, if that makes sense? Or would you have one map and then it changes basically every month or 2 months, etc.?
I feel like that kind of just depends on the popularity of it, right? Like if people are playing it a lot, then you can have the rotations happen like less frequently because it's like they'll still like enjoy it. But I do think like rotating the maps like monthly diffuse style, you know, is pretty cool. Like you have a fixed stock of like rotating maps, and then like every
Oh, I
month it's
see.
like, oh, here's a new one. You know, I think that's like
Right.
a good model for it.
Yeah. So it changes. So the maps change, but you can add in like other maps and stuff.
Probably.
do in
Although in
Diffuse.
Fortnite, like, you know, aren't the map changes like kind of drastic? Or I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's like the same base game mode. Like in Defuse, like the map kind of changes how the game's played, but in Fortnite, it's kind of just like it's not.
Doesn't
it
really
doesn't
have much
as
of an
big
effect, really.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't in our game mode either, because we're only adding like some obstacles. We're not. I don't think we're making like
Yeah,
a
no,
full
that totally
map.
makes sense, right? You don't want to get stuck in a maze when
Yeah.
you're in the storm.
Yeah. So it's a nice to have, I guess, rather than a big thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the map's closing in. The circle, the storm, whatever we're calling it, it's closing in. Does the storm, like, how do players interact with the storm? Does it destroy all of the towers, like, instantly? Does it, how long do players survive in the storm? Calvin, what are you thinking?
I mean, I initially said like destroys all the towers instantly, but I guess you could do it like every second each. No,
Robot
even if it's
Calvin.
like, you could still theoretically build in it, which would maybe. But then you can do that in Fortnite too, so I don't know. Like I don't know. I guess you
Calvin, turn
I
your
guess
voice
you
changer
could
back
build the
on.
towers instantly.
You're revealing you're a robot to everyone. It's supposed to be a
Oh, for
secret.
real?
There you go, that's better. Yeah.
Are we good now?
Yeah, you
Okay,
turned
yeah,
your voice
and,
changer back on.
Yeah, sorry for my mic sucks as usual.
Okay, no, it's terrible.
What was I going to say? Right, so it breaks all the towers. As for the players side, though, I guess they get like a, I don't know, like a little like countdown at the top of the screen. It's like you have
Okay,
5
hold
seconds to
on.
leave the storm, and then you die.
Hold on a minute. Let me try leave and rejoin.
Hold up, we might be good. We might be good.
Oh, is it good now? Yeah, okay. I think it's good. Right.
Yeah,
I think
I mean,
it was
we'll
me
be
actually,
fine.
maybe. Calvin,
Oh,
do you want to
Calvin,
go?
Kind of need to repeat everything
Wow,
you just
for once
said.
it's not.
Yeah,
Okay,
from the top.
So, okay, so when you're in the storm, all the towers break, and you can't place any towers. Actually, no. How about you can place towers? Because if you're doing like shooter 1v1 tower blocking stuff, you can do that. Like, because like the tower will break like a quarter second after you place it. You know, so you can still like do that sort of thing if you're doing 1v1s, which I think is cool. And if you're as for the players in the storm, you get like a little countdown at the top of the screen. It's like you have 5 seconds to leave the storm until you die, and then if you don't get out, then you die. You know, something like that. I think that would be cool.
Wave.
I like that. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to add there. I definitely think it should break towers. I feel like that would be a good way to make sure that, like, you know, it kind of shrinks the map and you can't really, like, block people off from getting through it as easily. Like, it shouldn't just be a strategy to, like, I don't know, like, just stop someone from getting through by just placing a wall of towers.
I mean, I think that's awesome, but you know,
Mm.
whatever. I mean, you can still kind of do that anyways, right? If you have like just
Yeah.
build distance and you're within
Yeah.
the storm, you can, well, not within the, but you're like in the circle and you can like place walls around it to make it like hard for them to get in. Like, I think that's
So,
like a
like,
cool thing you can do.
Would it make it so you can't place towers in there after, or would it just break all towers that are there
Well,
already?
I mean, I was saying that like after you place a tower, it will break after like a quarter of a second. I just
Okay.
like you shouldn't be able to build, but you should be able to tower block. It'll be
That's
like
okay.
shooter
Yeah.
1v1s if that makes sense.
So it breaks towers after like a quarter of a second or half a second or whatever, and people have what 5 seconds to escape it or they die.
I mean, this one's a little bit harder to do, right? Because the fly doesn't have like a player health mechanic. You know, you're not gonna like lose health. And you also have to have some way to like prevent like people from being like, oh, I have 5 seconds in the storm, so I'll just like stay here, and then like after that I'll go out, and then I'll go back in. You know, like kind of want to avoid something like that. So maybe it's just like you have like a fixed amount of time that you're allowed to like remain in the storm, and that like just like carries over for. So you're like you spend 2 seconds in the storm, and then you get out, and then you spend another 3 seconds in there, and then you die. But maybe that might be like a little bit too harsh, but I don't know.
What if, just throwing out ideas here, what if obviously the player has gear, right, that we've given it, so they've got like some upgrade slots and stuff. What if after like every 2 seconds in the storm they lose, you know, an upgrade slot? Like not a loser slot, but like if they've got any gear on them, it like just drops, basically. And then eventually, if they don't have anything left, then they die after like 2 seconds. You know, so every
Like,
2
you have
seconds
to make
they
it a
lose
little
something.
quicker, probably, because I think Copter Royale's 10 seconds until you die.
Right.
But I do like that idea though.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we want to be incentivizing players to not be in the storm. That's like the whole point. Is that like the last person like in the circle wins.
Mm-hmm. So,
Although I guess sometimes you could win while you're in the storm, which is kind of cool. Like if it happens to line up that way.
Yeah.
But I guess going back to your point, I think Wave is like, you know, if somebody does go in the storm to win, like keeps on going in and out of the storm, is that a problem?
I mean, kind of depending on how far they go. Like, if they're just going in there, like, and then they run around and they do something else, I don't really know. But you have to find a way, like you said, I think the upgrades dropping from them is a good way to do it. because it kind of punishes them for being in the storm, but it doesn't like. It's not like an instant death if you go in the storm.
Mm-hmm. So it would work like after 10 seconds. So
I would
for
say
every
after 10 seconds they should be dead.
so after every upgrade slot, yeah. So you basically, if you have anything in that upgrade slot, you lose it, right? Therefore, if you have max gear or everything, or at least something in every upgrade slot, you have 10 seconds to survive. But if you don't have anything in any of the upgrade slot, then you die after like 2 seconds.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Is that how that would work, or is that too harsh, or?
No, I mean, I think the point is that players are not. They're supposed to get more condensed.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Cool. So I think we've got the game. Now. So there's a few other questions then. So we've said the game's going to last 15 minutes, right? How do we want people during the middle of a game? How would we have the server working? So if somebody else joined in the middle of a game, would you want that person to wait, or would you want them to go in a new server? If you want them to wait, would they go into like spectator mode sort of thing, or?
I think if you just have a few servers running at the same time and then you space them out, like if the game went for a maximum of, well, I don't know, you can maybe have it like, because I guess it's not really, like you shouldn't just put like a timer on the lobby, but I guess you kind of could if you like have the storm like get really, really small. If the storm by some point like closes all the way in, you could make it so they eventually have to lose, and you could maybe do something like that. But I think if you just have a few servers running at the same time and space them out like between when the game's supposed to start, so if you had 3 servers with 15 minutes, you could have a server like start every 5 minutes, and that would make it so that way like if you join in between that time, you have to wait for 5 minutes or so, depending on like when you join for it to start. So it's kind of like a waiting lobby kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what Copter Royale does, but I don't know how like long it is.
So yeah, you've just got like a waiting lobby for the next round to start, basically. Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's like kind of like how Fortnite does it. You know, like before, like you have enough people to get in the bus. You have everyone's just like hanging out. You know, you could just turn that into like a 1v1 lobby. You know, you can like just like let people do shooter 1v1s while they wait. You could incorporate a little Tetris mini game to have players, you know, stack blocks while they wait. I think that'd be really cool. I think that would drive engagement way up. Although that comes with the problem of people would rather play Tetris than the Copter Royale. But I don't think anyone would ever choose to play Tetris over Defly. That's just like not a thing that happens.
Okay, so you just got a waiting queue. I like it.
Yeah, it's something cute like that.
Yeah, just a queue with just like a just a do whatever you want lobby. Okay. Is there anything else? I can't think of anything else. So
I mean, I haven't been writing down this and keeping track of all.
It's alright. It's all in my noggin. Okay, so
I assumed you were right.
I'm not writing anything down. That's what YouTube's for. So what have we got? We have scrapped FFA. We decided we hate it. It's rubbish. Nobody plays it. Nobody likes it. We're very sorry. We've replaced it with a battle royale game mode instead. There are a max player count of 24 players. Okay, any player, if only any player that is so the player count, how far below the 24 players the player count is for that game, will be replaced by an AI. So if there's only 18 players, then the other 6 positions are going to be replaced by AIs. The AI is going to be sort of a normal average, so just below sort of a normal average player. So competitive, much better than normal DFly FFA AI, but not so hard that you're really struggling. And then all the players are gonna spawn in. All the players and AIs are gonna spawn in kind of like a Hunger Games type circle. The circle's gonna be pretty big. So obviously, like, they're not all on the same sort of screen. It's a big space. And then there's gonna be a cornucopia in the middle with a bunch of upgrades. There's gonna be 4 upgrade slots. Yeah, so you're gonna have 4 upgrade slots. You're going to pick up these upgrades. It might take like a second or 2 seconds or however long to pick up these upgrades. And in each slot, you can only put one type of upgrade. So you can only have 1 bullet range slot and 1 build range slot. You can't have 2 slots going to build range, for example. Each slot is going to be able to stack a total of 2 upgrades together. So if you you're only going to be able to pick up 2 bullet range upgrades, for example. You're not going to be able to pick up 3 bullet range upgrades. And then you're going to have different rarities of these upgrades. So you're going to have like a rare version of bullet range. So the rare version might have 4 points worth of bullet range, and a common might have only 2 points worth of bullet range. Okay? So from there, we then have the 5th slot, which is your superpower slot. So you're gonna exactly the same sort of way. It takes a few seconds to pick up a superpower, maybe like 5 seconds or whatever, to pick up your superpower, and you put it in that slot, and you're only allowed 1 superpower. And there's gonna be like 15 different superpowers, loads of them, way more than normal DFly. From there, the storm, which is what we're calling the sort of the bit that you can't go, that players aren't allowed to go inside of. So obviously that shrinks. The idea is the game's going to only last around 15 minutes. So by 15 minutes mark, the storm should be like, the map should be as small as possible, basically. And players won't be able to, if players are caught inside that storm, every 2 seconds, an item or anything that's in a slot will basically be dropped. Okay? If they have everything maxed, or everything in a, every slot filled, then they will be able to survive a total of 10 seconds. So every 2 seconds, they're going to lose any item in a slot, basically. And once all of that's been destroyed, then they're basically, going to die after 2 seconds. Okay? So if they don't have any items, then they're going to die after 2 seconds. Any towers that are built inside the storm are going to disappear after about after about a quarter of a second, roughly, is kind of what we've said. And then there's going to be like a waiting room where players can kind of hop in and wait for the next game to basically start. I don't think I've missed anything, right?
I'm shocked you remembered all that.
Thanks.
I know.
So that's what we've said. That's the game mode that we've created. Now, the next thing then. We're nearly an hour and 10 minutes into this, so we're coming to the close now. How, based on that, have we met our 3 criteria, and are we happy with it? So number 1, does it drive enjoyment? What do you think? Does it meet that requirement? Can we tick that box?
Gonna feel pretty stupid if it doesn't. What have we been doing this whole time?
I think it does. Yeah?
Yeah.
Replayability. Does it tick the replayability box? Is there a reason to keep on playing it?
I think if you keep it fresh and keep variety in there with superpowers and maps and stuff, I think it does.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I forgot about the maps. My bad. So there's going to be these maps with these structures. So there's going to be some basic structures, which are basically going to be grey towers, but you can destroy the grey towers. And they're going to maybe have like a few tower health, for example. And they're destroyable. So they're not going to be like full defuse map kind of things, but they're going to be just some basic structures that you can kind of hide behind and stuff. And the maps are going to be basically, you can have a bunch of maps and they're going to swap in new maps occasionally, essentially. And the maps are just going to change after each game, that sort of thing. But the maps aren't going to be too significant like they are in Defuse. So replayability, we as long as we keep things fresh, we're kind of good with that one, right?
I mean, at minimum, it's more replayable than like normal to fly with a map, so it's like
Yeah.
Okay. The third point then, the third requirement, the last one, the big one, the sense of achievement. Do we think it gives people sense of achievement? I don't know about you. I think it ticks that box most of all.
Who doesn't
more,
love
yeah,
winning?
more so than any other game mode, right?
I
Because it's
think-
like, oh wow, you took on like you were the best out of all these 24 players. Normal free for all, like you don't feel any achievement from like killing bots all the time in teams. I guess you do feel achievement in teams, but it's also it's less personal achievement. It's more like a team achievement kind of thing.
Mhm.
Same with Diffuse.
Yeah. I think it's great. I think it ticks all the boxes. I think what we've created is better than all the other game modes. I think well done us. It doesn't exist,
Copter
so we've not
Elites
achieved anything.
Coming soon, 2025.
Sorry,
Look
my
forward.
bad. Copter Royale, Battle Royale D-Fly coming soon. No, it's not. I'm joking. It's just a great idea that we've come up with. So well done us.
Are you sure you don't want to make this your next little project, Andy?
No, I've got enough
Okay.
projects.
right,
Maybe
fine.
we'll see. Okay, right. Well done us. So that was episode 1. Let's pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah, awesome. Like and subscribe to the official Andy Man YouTube channel.
Yeah, woohoo. Thanks for watching. Episode 2, not a clue when that's coming out, but episode 2 will be on teams. I've just decided that. Of course I didn't just decide that. I've got a schedule and everything. I'm really organised, as you all know. Next episode is going to be about teams and how terrible that is and how we're going to fix it. Fix all of its problems. Right. Thanks all for watching. Calvin and Wave, thank you
Yes.
for joining.
Bye bye.
And bye, everyone. How do I end this?